Jimmy Butler is a Golden State Warrior. What a weird fit, but we'll talk about that here in a second. Jimmy Butler goes for Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, Kyle Anderson, and a protected first-round pick. Schroeder gets dealt like 7 different times. Dude's getting passed around like a bong at a high school party. And then Kyle Anderson is gone. Dunzo, he is not going to be on the Miami Heat. So essentially for the Heat, they didn't really get much back for those guys. It really ended up being Andrew Wiggins, a protected first, and a little bit of other stuff as well. How do you like the trade?
It's not moving anything for me. If you're Miami, it was a just get him the heck out of here kind of trade. Mm-hmm. Like, we're sick of dealing with this bull crap. If you're Golden State, is Jimmy an upgrade from Wiggins? Yeah, and maybe you can talk yourself into like, okay, now we have to. Jimmy's not even an all-star caliber player technically. He hasn't made a team in forever, but you can talk yourself into like, okay, maybe you have a little bit of firepower next to it, but it doesn't move anything for me. I think Jimmy Butler's, he's replaced Kyrie Irving for like the kind of guy you're like, I would never trade him for anything. I just don't want him on my team. But the Golden State's desperate, and everyone they talked to said no. It's kind of like when you're trying to ask a girl to homecoming, everyone says no, and by pretty soon it's 3 days to the dance, and you got to ask whoever's going to say yes at that point, right? And so, he's going to be there with the Warriors. I don't know how his game works with Steph. I don't know how his attitude is going to be with Draymond. It was just we have to do something. He's who is available, and if you're the Heat, it was like, take him, please.
Yeah, that's what it felt like too, and it just felt like they were both like, yeah, like kind of like, okay, we got to figure out our prom dates. Everybody else got theirs. Everybody's all paired up, and all of a sudden it's just you two in a room. Like, all right, I guess let's make this happen. Let's go to prom. I guess it's gonna be us two. Let's make the best of it. Jimmy Butler signs the extension right away. My thing about this, I 100% agree with you, because especially on the Heat side, where it's like, just get him out of the building. I'm done with him. Pat Riley was clearly done with him well beyond even last year, probably. But with the Warriors, I think it's a move you have to make. And if you're a Warriors fan, the way to talk yourself into this trade is when Jimmy Butler's bought in, there is just some other gear he kicks into that it just works. And it is so difficult for the other team to stop what he tries to do. And we haven't really seen Steph with a real number 2 guy since Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins were on their game 3 years ago. So if he's bought in, you're competing at least. You're not going to win anything. You might make a playoffs. You might, have a, competitive first round series against the Grizzlies, like I keep saying, but
right.
You're probably not going to go. I mean, their ceiling's what? At best, if the matchup's right, the second round of the playoffs.
At best. The thing for me, and right, Butler can go to another stratosphere in the biggest moments, and it's the best thing about him, right? It's the thing that everyone points to and what you do want. The problem is, how is his style going to fit with this Warriors team? That's all built around Steph, ball movement, and shooting. The thing about Poole and Wiggins, right, and Clay and all those guys is they could just shoot the leather off the ball. Don't even get me started about the KD and all that stuff, and that's what made them so great. Butler's not a shooter, and if he ever is, it's not off the pass. That's for sure. He's an ISO-centric kind of, and when he gets to his spots, he can do his thing. The problem is, if you're the Warriors, your whole game plan is built around a center, Draymond Green, and 3 guys who can shoot the heck out of the ball. But if you add Jimmy in there, right, as your small forward, shooting guard type, I don't really know where he fits in offensively with what they're trying to run. Maybe Steve Kerr will figure it out. He's got a special role for him. Maybe he plays the non-Steph minutes primarily, right? It still is a starter, but he takes on that role and is kind of the source of offense that way. It's hard for me to think of Jimmy Butler in the Warriors offense.
My thing is, I think the only way it kind of works out is Jimmy Butler playing point guard. I think we're going to see a lot more Steph off the ball, and Jimmy Butler's finding guys open. I don't hate this as a flyer whenever he starts playing for the Warriors. Jimmy Butler triple-doubles will be live because I don't think he's going to go out there and average 25 points a game. I think it's going to be a lot of 13, 7, and 7 nights.
Yeah. I think that's like the only way it fits. That's the only way I can picture it in my mind. And these guys are brilliant. And I'm sure Steve Kerr has a plan, but
even think about like Chris Paul's a little different because Chris Paul was a straight up liability on defense, and him and Steph together on the court's kind of a disaster defensively. But even with Chris Paul, like Chris Paul wants to slow it down, dominate the possession, have the ball in his hands. that didn't necessarily gel at all with the Warriors. And you're kind of bringing in a guy like Jimmy Butler. It's interesting to see how he'll fit with this team. I'm excited about it. And if you're the Warriors, you got to do right by Steph, even though it doesn't set you up great for the future. But you look at Steph Curry now, you watch him in these games, you can just tell he's visibly like, man, I am just not having fun playing with these guys anymore. Because a lot of these guys just, you can tell they just don't care. Like a guy like Andrew Wiggins, I feel like he's been going through so much stuff off the court that hasn't been reported that
Yeah.
you go, oh man, like you can just tell basketball's not his thing anymore. He's got other priorities right now. And it's just shown on the court, and Curry's not happy, and you got to do right by Curry. And now this proves, hey, we're going to go fight for it for 2 years, try and be relevant in a couple playoff series, maybe go get some guys in the buyout market and piece this thing together, and maybe it works out. But it's not
At the heart of it
great.
all, that's all it was. It was, Steph, we're going to do what we can, brother. And they're like, we tried so hard on KD, but we got you Jimmy Butler. It's like when your mom goes to Dick's to buy you new cleats and she bought like the $25 pair. She's like, I got you new cleats, but they kind of suck. And you're like, well, at least they're cleats. At least I can play now on the team, right? And that's kind of what it's like. And it was just like, let's just make Steph happy. Let's get him as much help as we can. This is the only guy available that fits this description. So let's do it. But
I think that's the nature of it. I'm really curious to see Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green, how they fit together, and whether it becomes they're going to be like two magnets. It's either going to they're going to go boom, attract immediately, or they are going to hate each other, and it is going to cause real problems. But they can be bruisers, and they're going to annoy the piss out of some teams.
they are, yeah. I mean, that's best case scenario for the Warriors, right? Can Jimmy be that demon, as they say on the court, just grind guys down in the paint, play tough defense, right? And, get in passing lanes and just be a total disruptor while Draymond just gets a technical or two and pisses dudes off.
What if, okay, this isn't going to happen, but what if this trade happens, Warriors go on some big run, and Steph and Jimmy Butler lead this team to winning a playoff series, maybe two. Let's say they make a miracle run. This thing gels perfectly, and they make a run to the Western Conference Finals. How much does that add to Steph's legacy?
Making a Western Conference Finals run doesn't seem as impressive as maybe it used to be these days.
That unit,
I mean, Trae Young did it. Look! You want to look at his teammates?
That's the East. I think the better comparison would be like when Lillard and the Blazers made it, or that first Mavs Luka team.
Right. And look, and it would be so impressive for Steph. I just don't know, like, for a guy who's won 4 championships, is a Western Conference Finals going to make that much of an impact? Maybe to people who are really bought in and realize how hard it is, like, like us paying attention, and we'd be like, this is crazy what he's doing. But at the end of the day, talking about legacy, you look back on it, you'd be like, oh, he made that one run in 2025. You'd be like, oh, okay, well, they lost in 5 in that series.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I just think he's the most underrated superstar in NBA history, but I don't think he gets the respect he deserves.
Oh.
I really don't. I think he's so good. He's the most entertaining player I've ever watched on a basketball court.
Where do you put him all time? Is he your top 5?
I haven't put together a list yet. It's tough for me, man. I don't like making lists like that. This is a cop-out answer. I don't like making lists like that because I didn't get to see Jordan play. I didn't get to see Kareem play, so it's unfair, but he's hovering around that top 5. That's for sure.
I'm actually with you.
He's definitely above Kobe.
Oh, don't make that a clip.
I'm not going to make it a clip, but he's definitely above Kobe. We've done that clip before, and I've gotten death threats. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm with you, dude. The most underappreciated superstar of all time, I think, would still go to Tim Duncan, but Steph's up there.
I'm saying underrated, not underappreciated, because people appreciate Steph and how he's changed the game and everything. I just think he was that good, especially as a 6-foot guard. He's the best 6-foot guard in NBA history. That's no questions asked.
Yeah, isn't he like 6'2"? But still,
same thing. Like anything 6'4" and below.
No, I think you're right. The things that he continues to do with the players that he had. I mean, the 2022 finals speaks for itself. I mean, You resurrected Wiggins' career and was able to win that title.
And
That
like
was it for me.
the other thing I always think about whenever I make that point is where would Draymond Green and where would Klay Thompson be without Steph Curry?
Not
What
in the
is
league.
Klay's career path? Is it the same as JJ Redick's?
That's at best. That's at very best for Klay Thompson.
What's
JJ
Draymond
Redick
Green's
was
career path?
a legendary shooter. Dude, I don't want to like get into this and be mean, but like, dude, Draymond lasts 5 years in the league if he doesn't get drafted by the Warriors. Let's be honest. What else could
That's
he
what
do?
I'm saying. And playing around Steph made all these dudes so much better and everything. Got KD a couple titles, even though, I mean, obviously KD helped Steph out for sure, but Steph did win 2 on his own as the best player.